Welcome to our new Gen AI learning series where we'll be creating over 50 generative AI applications from scratch. You're in the right place if you're here for one of the two reasons. First, you've been reading articles by world tech leaders about how AI can disrupt industries and impact your job and life. You want to stay ahead of the curve because it's not just about AI replacing jobs, it's about staying competitive against those who master AI before you do. Second, you've begun to realize the transformative power of AI and its capabilities to change your life, society, and the entire world. You also understand that while AI may disrupt existing jobs, it will simultaneously create new and better opportunities. In this series, we will create over 50 generative AI applications from scratch using primarily open source models. Starting with basic applications like a YouTube transcript summarizer, user feedback sentiment analysis, a translation tool, and an object detector, we'll progressively tackle more complex projects. These include developing our own image generation tool, similar to Stable Diffusion Web UI, and building a chatbot like ChatGPT. Later, we'll advance to more sophisticated applications, such as basic and advanced retrieval augmented generation (RAG) applications using LangChain and multi-agent systems. At the end of each video, we'll deploy whatever applications we create during the session to Hugging Face Spaces, enabling you to showcase your work to colleagues, friends, and family. Adding these projects to your resume or LinkedIn profile can help you stand out in job applications and potentially lead to higher salaries. These videos will blend theoretical knowledge with hands-on practice, primarily using Python. However, don't worry if you're a beginner. No prior coding experience is required, just a willingness to learn. I'll guide you through every step, ensuring you have the knowledge and tools to succeed. Without any further ado, let's get started. As we embark on our journey to create and deploy AI applications, it's essential to familiarize ourselves with some of the incredible tools at our disposal. Hugging Face, Gradio, Streamlit, and Civit AI are some of the major platforms that will play a crucial role in our series. Let's start with Hugging Face. Hugging Face Spaces is a robust platform that offers 4 powerful features to build and deploy AI applications easily. First, models. Hugging Face hosts hundreds of thousands of pre-trained models covering a vast range of tasks. Whether you need models for image classification, image segmentation, converting images to text, text classification, or text summarization, you'll find them here. The platform provides a user-friendly interface where you can filter models by task type, language, license, and more. Throughout this series, we'll use these models to create real-life applications, demonstrating their versatility and power. Second, datasets. This section of Hugging Face provides access to a large repository of datasets, which are crucial for training machine learning models. You can explore datasets categorized by domain, task, and language, making it easier to find the right data for your projects. Third, spaces. Spaces are where you can deploy and showcase your machine learning models as interactive web apps. This feature allows you to share your work with the world, enabling users to interact with your models and generative AI projects in real time. Fourth, documentation. To help you make the most of these tools, Hugging Face offers comprehensive documentation. This includes tutorials, how-to guides, and API references that provide detailed instructions and best practices for using models, datasets, and spaces effectively. We will keep talking about Gradio and its capabilities throughout the series, but just to give you a high-level idea, Gradio allows you to build and share delightful generative AI and machine learning apps with minimal code. Whether your model processes images, text, or structured data, Gradio provides the tools to design interfaces that allow users to input their data and see live results. One of Gradio's standout features is its ability to simplify sharing your demos, making it as easy as sharing a URL. Once your interface is built, Gradio hosts it on their platform for free, generating a link that you can distribute.
Let's create a small demo to understand how easy and quick it is to build user interface with Gradio. So to do that, I'll just open Jupyter Notebook. And don't worry if you don't know about Jupyter Notebook, because in the next section, which is installation section, I'll be explaining about all these tools and how you can use that. So don't worry about that. Just to start with, I'll just click on new and then Python 3. It will open a new terminal for me. So first I need to install Gradio libraries. So to do that, I'll just enter pip install Gradio, and I'll run this block by clicking on this button. And then what I'll do is I'll just go to Gradio, and then I'll just copy this code. As you can see, there are only 5 lines of code that would allow us to create a user interface for us. So I'll go here, and the next section I'll just paste this code, and let's make some changes here. I'll just mention welcome to Gen AI Learniverse. So we will provide an option to the user wherein user will provide a name, and then in the output it will print welcome to Gen AI Learniverse along with the name that we have provided in the input box. So let's run this block as well by clicking on this run button. And it has given me the link, right? As I mentioned earlier, Gradio allows you to share a link. Right now it's a kind of local link, but I want to change it to, I want a kind of public link that I can share with anyone that we want. So what I can do is I'll just paste this share is equal to true. Okay, and I'll run this block again. So it might take some time, but you will be getting one link that you can share with anyone. So you see, this is the link that it generated that you can share with anyone, and it can be accessed publicly as well. For now, I'll just click the local link, and it has, as I mentioned, right, it has given me an input where I can enter any name. So I'll enter Mike. I'll click on submit, and then in the output section you can say welcome to Gen AI Learniverse Mike. So you can see, I think it took me around 20 seconds to build this interface. So you can understand how easy and powerful this tool is that we'll be using throughout our series to build different real world application that you can share with anyone you want.
In the first part of our series, we'll focus primarily on using Hugging Face and Gradio to build our applications. This will allow us to delve deeply into these platforms and explore their extensive functionalities in creating and deploying AI models. We'll cover Streamlit and Civit AI in upcoming videos, especially when we begin to build more complex applications like chatbots or engage in image creation and manipulation. Additionally, we'll also utilize ChatGPT for code generation and review, enhancing our development process with AI-driven insights. Before we dive into creating projects, it's essential that you have some tools and software installed, such as Python, PyCharm, drivers, etc. To make this easier for you, I've created a helpful document that provides step-by-step instructions, complete with links and screenshots, to guide you through the installation process. You can find the link to this document in the video description below. Please ensure everything is set up before we start so you can follow along smoothly and without interruptions. If you are following along, I hope you have already installed all the required software and created a free account on Hugging Face. This setup is essential for you to actively participate and make the most out of our sessions. As we've seen, there are many models available for performing various tasks. The question is, how can we effectively utilize these models for our project needs? To simplify interaction for end users, we have many libraries like PyTorch, TensorFlow, Transformers, and Diffusers. These libraries help us interact with the models, handling the complex processes behind the scenes. In most of our text-based applications, we will be using the Transformers library, while for projects involving images, we'll utilize the Diffusers library. Our first project will be a text summarizer. For this, I'll navigate to the Summarizer task on Hugging Face and select a model. I'll apply a filter to choose only those models that are free to use without restrictions. For the purposes of this demonstration, I will be using the DistilBart CNN model. You are welcome to choose this model or any other that better suits your specific use case. When I click on Use in Transformers on Hugging Face, you will notice two different types of code snippets provided. The first option uses a pipeline, which is a high-level wrapper function designed for simplicity and ease of use. It works well for straightforward applications, but offers limited options for customization.
Now let's start the fun part. So I'll right click on PyCharm and run it as administrator. This kind of screen will open. So I'll click on new project and I'll go to this folder. I'll create a new folder. So I'll create 50 plus
Gen AI projects. I'll click OK, and then again I'll click OK. Make sure that you select the base interpreter as whatever version Python version you have installed. In my case it's 3.10, so I'll keep it as is, and I'll click on create. It will create a new project. Along with that, it will also create a virtual environment. The advantage of using virtual environment is that whatever installation you do in your against this project, that will remain within the boundary of this virtual environment. So for example, you have another project wherein you have some different version of some libraries. So if you install a different version for this particular project, it will not impact your other projects. So it's always a good idea to use the virtual environment. Okay, so now my project has been created. Now I need to install some of the libraries that will be required for our projects, right? So there are two ways of doing it. First way is you will just go here and then click on settings, and then whatever project you have, for example in my case it's 50 plus Gen AI projects, I'll click here, I'll go to Python interpreter, click on plus icon, and whatever libraries I need to install, I'll click I'll just type it here. For example, I need to do Gradio. I'll just select Gradio, install package, and it will install Gradio for me. But there is another way of do it wherein we can install all the libraries all together. For that, what I'm going to do is I'll create a new folder, new directory. I'll give the name as installation. Okay, and now I create a new file inside this directory, and I'll give the name as requirements.txt. Okay, I already have those libraries mentioned, so I'll just copy these libraries, and don't worry, I'll be sharing this code along with you, so you can just copy paste all these libraries. Just one thing you need to consider: if you do not have GPU, or you are not using CUDA, then you just need to remove this CUDA part from here. Okay, so once I have added all those libraries, so I have added transformer, that is, as I mentioned earlier, I'll be using this library for all interacting with the models, diffusers that we'll be using for image part, transformers, and then Gradio, all these kinds. So some of the additional libraries we'll be using in the future, so I'll just have added it over here, so you can just copy paste. I save this file. Now what I need to do, I'll just right click here, and then I'll click on open in, and then terminal. It will open a terminal for me. Okay, and you see this is my virtual environment 50 plus Gen AI projects. Then I need to simply write a command pip install -r, and then file name requirements.txt, and I'll click enter. It will start installing all these libraries, right, that is required for executing our project or running our project. Okay, it will take some time, so be patient and let it complete. Okay, so as you can see, all my libraries have been installed, right? So if you get this message, again you will back to that console starting message, virtual environment part. So it means that all your libraries have been installed. So there is one more requirement that we have, is to install PyTorch. So if you are using, if you are just using CPU version, you just need to install PyTorch for CPU using pip install torch command. But if you have GPU, then you just need to copy this whole text, and then again put it inside PyCharm and paste it over here, and it will start installing PyTorch for you. Okay, so it will collect all the data and start downloading and installing on your machine. So let's wait for this to install as well. Okay, so my PyTorch is also installed. So from the installation perspective, we are good. Now let's start with our actual project. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to create another folder, and since our first project is related to text summarization, So I'll create a directory and I'll give it a name like test summarization. Okay, and inside text summarization I'll add a file and give it a name text summary.py. Okay, so my new file has been created. Now in this file we are going to create our own project, right? So first we'll have to import some of the libraries that is required for such as Gradio or Transformer, those libraries, or PyTorch, those is required for us to build our project. So let me quickly import that. So let's import some of the required libraries. I'll start with importing Torch. Then I'll import Gradio. Okay, now I'll go back to my Hugging Face, and if you remember I talked about this transformer. So I'll click here, and for this project I'll be using pipeline. So I'll copy this code and I'll paste it in this file. The only one parameter that I'm going to add over here is torch dtype, and I'll set it as torch.bfloat16. So this particular parameter basically compress the model without degrading the performance. So it's always a good idea to use this parameter. Okay, so now when I run this file, it ideally should be downloading this model. Okay, so this is the best way to download the model on your local machine. Okay, and then we will be, once model is downloaded, we'll be utilizing this to summarize our text. So to do that, let's run this file. There are two ways we can run this file. First one is first we'll click over here and this will automatically start running this file, but I'll be using another way. So to do that, what you will do is you'll go to your folder wherever your file is installed. So this is the folder wherever file is located. So I'll right click over here, and then I'll again, you already know, right, go to terminal, and then I'll type a command python, and I'll give the file name, okay, textsummary.py, and press enter. As soon as I press enter, ideally it should start downloading the models and the related files. Okay, so let's wait for this to download. It might take a couple of seconds to download. Actually it downloads in the cache folder in C drive, but since we are creating a project over here, so ideally it's a good idea to keep that model inside our project. Okay, so because if that will reside inside cache folder, if you want to utilize the same model, then you will again have to refer that cache folder path, right? So that's not a good idea. So it's always a good idea to copy that model from the cache location and put it inside our own project. So for us, I have created a folder with the name models. You can also create the same. I'll just right click new and then directory, and then give the directory name as models. Okay, so as I mentioned, this download happens inside the cache directory. So if I'll talk about a specific about the folder, it would be inside C, users, your computer name, then cache, then Hugging Face, hub, and you should be having that model downloaded somewhere over here. So my model name is distilbird and 12.6. So this is the this is the file that has been downloaded. So I'll just cut it from here, and what I'll do is I'll go to this path. I'll again right click on models. I'll click on open in Explorer. Okay, so I'll go inside the model, I'll paste the file. Okay, now rather than utilizing that file for the model, let me create a variable with the name model path, and I'll give the model path over here. Okay, so which path we need to give? So you need to go to the name of that folder, the model that you have downloaded, the inside snapshot, and you see there's a random number. Okay, so you'll just right click on that number. Then what we'll do is you will just copy the
path. So copy path reference and you will select path from content root. Okay, and then I'll just paste it over here. Okay, so this is the model path. Now rather than giving this path, okay, and now this our folder resides here, so we'll have to go back one directory back, right? So I'll just keep dot dot before that, because right now the file resides inside this text summary. So I'll go back to one folder back. So dot dot slash basically moves us one folder back. So I'll go to models and then I'll just select this path. Then rather than having model is equal to hard-coded path, I'll give the model path. Okay, so my code is ready. Now what I need to do is I just need to provide some text. Okay, and I need to call a function and let's change the name of this variable text summary. And what I'll do is I'll just print text summary, and in the input part I'll give text. So whatever text will provide, this function will call this model, it will summarize my text and print it. Okay, so let's see whether it is working fine or we find any issue. So from the text part, let's go to Wikipedia and just copy paste any text. I'll just copy this text, okay, and I'll put it inside here. Okay, and let's try to run. As I mentioned, either I can just write python text summary.py or I can just click on this button. This time let me click on this button. Generally interacting with the model specifically for the first time takes some time, so we'll have to wait to see the response. So here is the text, right? So you can see it has given me the text that is other than what we have provided. So in that way your code is already ready for your first project. But right now it's not in a good format, right? It is something that is just console based. That's not a good idea. So what we are going to do is we are going to use Gradio for giving it a nice user interface, right? That can be shared with anyone and they can also try and utilize this application. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'll create a function, because Gradio always accept a function. I'll give the name of this function as summary. Okay, so let's define a function and I'll give it a name called summary, and it will accept a single parameter. Then inside this function I'll just call again the text summary function, sorry, and inside that I'll put input. And if you see the output that I printed, it's a kind of array. So I'll be using first 0 index value that is having summary text. So I'll just return output output 0 and then summary text. Okay, so this ideally should return me the value. Okay, so my function is ready. Now we need to, why we created this function? Because Gradio actually accept a function. It requires a function. So whatever input we give, it calls that function, provide that input as a parameter for that function, and then return the value. And whatever output we have set, that it will display that output in that output box. So here let's quickly show you what I meant. So I already have imported Gradio as gr. So I'll just first I'll click gr.close all.
This is to make sure that all those values, if there is any instance that is running, it will be closed first. Then I'll just start with demo. I'll just create a variable demo is equal to gr.interface, and then this value I'll give function is equal to whatever function name we have. So our function name is summary, so I'll give the summary. Okay, then I'll give input is equal to text, and then I'll also define what is the output, what is the type of our output. So I'll give the output as text. Now I'll click demo dot launch. Okay, and I'll just comment this out. So let me comment this line, because ideally whatever operations that we need not to print this text anymore, we will be utilizing radio to input and show the output. So let me comment it. You can, if you're using Windows, you can use control and backslash for commenting any line of code that you have on this interface. So we are almost done. Let's try to run it and see how it looks, whether it is working fine or not. So I'll just click on run button, and we'll have to wait for some time for Gradio to run. So as you can see, our Gradio URL has already been created. So I'll just click here, and then you can see that I have input and output button. So I'll try to copy the same text that I had that I created before. So I'll be copying this, and I'll click on submit, and let's see it in a couple of seconds. Ideally you should have the summarized text of this one. Okay, so this is how we can create the new applications. But as you can see, right now we have a kind of paragraph that we can enter over here, and then it should be giving us some paragraph as well, right? But ideally right now we have a text box. So there is a way you can also change the appearance of the text box. You can make text box to text area, or you can change it to some different type. So as you can see, this is the summary that it has generated for us. Okay, so let's make this interface little bit better, and then we can move to the another project. Okay, so now as I mentioned, let's make our UI little better. So what I'll do is I'll comment this section for now. I'm commenting everything so that in future, whenever you are trying to look into the code, you can follow along, you can understand and do the things step by step. Okay, so I'll again enter gr.interface, but at this time what I'm going to do is I'll go to start with function will remain same, that is summary. Okay, and then what I'll do is while I'm providing the inputs and outputs parameter, I'll just provide inputs is equal to gr.textbox okay, label is equal to input text to summarize, and then I'll also enter lines is equal to 6. Okay, then what I'll do is I'll also similarly I'll give output so outputs is equal to again gr.textbox label is equal to summarized text, and I'll enter lines is equal to 4. Then I'll give
I'll give title. What is the title of our application? So this would be @Gen AI Learniverse Project 1 Text Summarizer. And then at the end, what we are going to do is we will be creating the description is equal to this application will be used to summarize the text. Okay, and then I'll just close it. That's it. And then I'll just enter demo.launch and we should be good. Let's try to run this application. First close it, run it again. Oh sorry, I missed to comment this one, so let's comment it. And then I'll click here. As you can see, now you can see the summary. I have my project details, what this project is all about. Then I have my description, and then when I copy and paste the same text, or maybe you can try with a different text as well, it will work. It will summarize whatever text you will provide. So I'll again copy this and then enter over here. I'll click on submit, and in some time it will give you the summarized text, right? So this is our first project. Now in our second project, what we are going to do is we will be extending this functionality or this code, whatever we have written, to create a real world application. So in this application, we'll be first writing a code to extract the content from the YouTube video. Then we'll pass that context to our model to summarize the text whatever we have received from our YouTube video. Okay, so this is the second project we are going to do. Okay, so this is the text that has been summarized, text that has been generated, and you can see this is completely different than what we had here, but obviously it has summarized everything whatever we have provided in our input text. Okay, so that ends our first project, and I would again suggest that pause the video, spend some time creating your own project. Maybe you can have different ways, different controls. You can change the lines and everything. You can utilize different summarized model to see how it works, because as I mentioned, right, selection of model is also one of the important criteria whenever you are planning to create a new project, especially when it comes to the real world use case. The model selection should be or it should be done correctly. Okay, so with that, let's close our first project. Okay, let's do one thing. I think this video is going to be too long, so what I can do is I can create the next part, that is YouTube video summarizer, in my next video. Okay, in the last part of this video, we are going to see how you can deploy your change and share your work with your friend, family, colleagues. So to do that, I'll first log into Hugging Face. I already have signed in, so I'll just go to Spaces, and then I'll click on Create New Space, and I'll give the space name. So in that case, I'll give Text Summarizer. License, I'll select it as Apache 2.0. And since we have used Gradio, so I'll be using Gradio, and I'll keep it as public. Okay, I'll click on Create Space. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, so for this, as you have seen previously, right, it was required for us to first install some of the libraries. So we'll also have to do that. And to do that, what I'm going to do is I'll first create one file. So I'll click on add files and then create a new file. I'll give the name as requirements.txt. Okay. And as you remember, we had some of the requirements. First one was transformer, then torch, then Gradio. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just mention transformers, then torch, and then Gradio. I need not to put anything like pip install or something, just the library that we need. I'll just put it over here and then commit find to main. Okay. Now I'll again go to files and add another file. I'll give the name as app.py, and what I'll do is whatever code I have written, I'll just paste it over here. But before pasting the code, you remember we downloaded this model, right? So right now this model resides on our local machine. However, when we upload the changes to Hugging Face already knows about this model. So what we can do is we'll just remove this as is, as per the initial code, and I'll commit these two lines. Okay. So now the same code that we have copied from our transformer, I kept it same, just I have added this torch D type, and I have commented this line because this line works only for the local model. When we upload our changes to deploy our changes to Hugging Face, we need to provide the actual model name because we already pulled this from Hugging Face only. So Hugging Face has already details available that from where to read this model and where to find this model details. Okay, so this is the only change that I have done, and then I'll copy and then I'll paste it over here, and then I'll commit this file to main. Okay, so changes are done now. Let's see. I'll click on app, and then what it will do is it will start building our code. So it will take some time, right? So it will process it will complete the installation, everything, whatever installation is required, the libraries that we have installed, and then it will also see to make sure that all the syntax and everything is correct. And accordingly, if build is successful, ideally it should load our application. If in case we find any error or there is some syntax error, then it will give us the error for us to resolve. So let's wait and see whether our build is successful or not. Okay, so now our build has been completed. As you can see, I'll just close this one. Okay, and then again I'll type something to see whether our application is working fine or not. So for that, I'll again go to Wikipedia, and this time maybe we'll search for some other person. So maybe Sam Altman, right? So I'll copy, paste, and let's see whether it works fine. It works fine or not. So right now we have hosted it on CPU, so it will take some time, more than what you have shown on my machine, because I was using GPU. Hugging Face also allows you to have some spaces wherein you can have some GPU option available, but that will have some cost, right? So I'm not going ahead with that option, but you can see I've got my result, and it summarized the text whatever I posted over here. Okay, so that way you can also share this link with your friends. So this is the text summarizer we have. Okay, and this is the link that you can share with anyone to access this application. So you can share this on your LinkedIn profile, or you can share it on WhatsApp for other people to look into that. And that's where, and if you are following along, then you are able to create your first Gen AI project, and you can understand how easy it is. So this was a simple application. We'll be
moving ahead, and then we'll create some intermediate level application and end up with having some complex applications, so that after end of this series you will have a complete understanding about GenAI. And irrespective of any use case or any real-time scenarios, you'll be able to relate and create the similar application for your company or for yourself, or if you want to start some startup, then you can also do that. If you like this video, please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.